Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be doing a DIY install on the RV here. And you guys know how I like to do tips, installs, and most of my installs are not only to fix things, I like to also make my life a little bit easier. Pertaining to this RV in particular, because of the way it's set up, I'm going to do another install. So what am I installing today? So it's the Valtera Easy Valve. It's for the black tank side. Now they do make adapters that go to these for your 1.5 inch gray tank side, but in this case I'm just going to do the black tank. And here's the gray tank, and that's pretty simple to just reach under there and grab and pull straight out, and that one is not a big deal. But look where they put the black tank at. It's considerably further back, and you got to pull it out this way. Kind of a pain in the butt setup. If you look, I have a 3-inch black tank pipe. It runs all the way across to the other valve. So I'm going to change this valve out to electric, and believe me, it's going to make my life a heck of a lot easier. Let's get right to opening the box, show you what's inside. Alright, so I already opened up this box just to give it a quick once over, and basically what's in the box is you have your instructions. This is a 12-volt system, so you're going to have to find out where you're going to hook up the 12-volt at on your particular unit, but it's pretty simple. Also, these instructions, if you've never installed one of these before, it's going to be a lot easier for me because I'm just going to tap into my existing one and make life a little bit easier for me. But if you open up here, it's going to basically just give you the rundown. Now you can download this online. They do have it right on the Valtera site, and they have these instructions if you really want to look over them. But I also want to show you that it also has a template on there, to where if you put a double valve or installation or just a single valve, and how big the hole's supposed to be. I also want to say that you can use these not only for black tanks, but you can use them for gray, because they do also have a extra plate in here for the gray valve, so the gray tank. So if you wanted to, you could add it. That would be awesome if I could do a third one, because they're that nice. By the way, I'm not getting paid to say that, nor did they send me this. I got the first one, I think, on Amazon, you know, over 3 years ago. The second one, this one, I got from Camping World. It actually was on sale, and it had some sort of discount, and it cost me $147, I think, for this. And it's already got the switch for the black tank already wired, and that's how these come in, already wired. So really all you have to do is find your 12-volt, and you're going to plug in this harness right here, the end of the harness from the switch, and to the end of the harness of the motor, and then run your 12-volt, which I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. But if you're pretty handy, you can figure that part out as far as wiring. Also, it comes with new seals and hardware. So let's take a look inside my storage compartment and show you how I did the other one. This is just my panel I undid for my storage compartment, and that's how I installed my switch. And I'm going to show you, which I can't right now because I unplugged it, but this light right here illuminates when the gate valve is open. So you can't forget it. You know, if that light's on, that means you got to switch it to close. I went ahead and popped this open. This is normally held on by staples, and this is the wiring for the other one. As you can see, I went ahead and cut 2 holes. Did it exactly the way it had it on the template. And basically what I did is I took these wires off, and these are going to be my 12-volt wires that I'm going to basically splice into those, and I'm not going to have to run that whole run anymore like I did. I'm going to just splice right into those. It's going to be very simple for me. So that goes to show you, if you're going to add another one, you could do the same thing. I also want to show you exactly how I went about. You can see how clean as far as the install goes. Drilled my hole there, ran my wires. And of course I'm using some of these, you know, the rubber. These are good, so you don't have to, you're not touching any metal or anything like that. And they're running tight. So you can see how I came underneath to here, and then I went right down into the plastic of this luggage holder. And I used a rubber grommet. What I did is I got me an assortment of them rubber grommets, so I got a, you know, I could pretty much do any hole that I want, but it keeps water out. It's pretty good. So I'm going to basically do the same thing as far as this install. I'm going to drill another hole. I'm going to run these wires nice and clean. I'm going to come up through here, and I might have enough even room to go in through this same exact hole. And I might even, since I put this real close on this side, I might even switch this over to here. So that would basically say that this is my furthest side gate valve. This is my closer side. It's kind of like my OCD in me, but that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. So let's get to it. A couple things before we get started here. You're going to basically want to grab some rubber gloves, because you are going to be touching black tank gate valves. And also, goes without saying, you might want to empty out your tanks. Now I have two black valves, you know, one on the other side. Probably be safe, but to even be safer, I went ahead and emptied all my tanks and flushed them out. I recommend you do that too. You might only have one black tank valve. So it goes without saying, make sure them black tanks are completely empty and cleaned out before you start. Don't want to have a mess on the ground. Just wanted to show you guys the grommet assortment that I have here. I keep one of these in my toolbox. Never know when you're going to need it for any type of install, but these work pretty darn good for this particular install. Okay, so while I have this out before I get it installed, I wanted to show you guys the operation as far as if this thing loses power or the motor doesn't work, it seizes up, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to show you how easy it is to use it manually. And as you can see this clip right here, and if you turn this 90 degrees, that's in the automatic position. There's a clip right here, and this snaps just like that. So now you're in the automatic position. But if, like I said, you lose power, which I've never done, the motor fails, which it's never happened, thankfully, you just come right over here, you pull this pin just like that, you turn this 90 degrees, and there you go, just like that. So fairly simple setup, and just awesome design. It works flawlessly for me, and I'm glad I got another one. So we're going to start off with a 7/16 wrench and a 7/16 socket. Got a 3/8 drive. Also, when you're taking these apart, notice how they're not very tight. You do not have to over tighten this. You're going to break something. It's all plastic. So just notice how it is when you're taking them out. They're not tight at all. So there's going to be 4 bolts. Okay. Didn't even need a wrench. Like I said, you're going to have some little bit of liquids coming out, so that's where the gloves come in. And there you have it. Simple as that. Now make sure that these rubber gaskets come out. And you're going to install these first. You're not going to install them on the gate valve. You're going to install them on the actual flanges that are already there before you put the gate valve in. So we're going to take this one out, and that's it. It's ready to install the other one. Alright, before you put the new gaskets on, just make sure it's clean. You don't have any debris or anything like that. It could cause a problem with the new gaskets. I don't want any leaks or anything like that, so okay, put that there. Put this one on. You don't want to really pull on this too tight, you know, too much. You don't want to crack anything or break anything. So seeing that it's so tight, I'm going to use some of this silicone spray, and it says right on there it's okay for rubber. So hoping that this is going to make it slide on there a little bit better than it was going on there. So right here is the new one I just put on. You want to make sure that that's seated all the way around. You see you got a little lip right here on this other side. These are the way they go, just like that. So you're going to put that in there. Let's see here. Alright, that looks good. They said that these could be mounted in any direction on the directions. So I'm going to make it to where the handle is obviously on this side. Let's go ahead and get this mounted. There we go. Like a glove. Okay, so we just need to make sure that all this is in properly. That felt good. Okay. And now that we got that pretty much ready to go, it will fit in perfectly once we start getting the bolts in. So let's get that going. Okay, we're gonna get these started. Shift around sort of like you're doing lug nuts. Start here at the bottom, then come up here to the top. And start snugging them up a little bit. And just keep rotating like that. Then you go to the bottom over on the other side here. See, really I'm just holding that with my thumb, and then go to the top on this side. Okay, come back down to the bottom. Alright, go back up here to the top. Go back down here to the bottom. That's about it. We're good to go. So let's try this manually real quick. Oh yeah. You always want to try it anyway when you get to this stage and make sure that you didn't by any chance bind any of them gaskets, them seals. You'll know it right away if you did that. So that's moving freely, very easily. So we'll put that back on. And then we'll move to the next step. I might even hang these up a little bit more. I don't like these hanging too much here. So I'm probably gonna tie wrap these out of the way. You know, you always gotta worry because we're right behind the rear tires and they don't have mud flaps on them. So if you hit anything, you could likely damage any of this area right here. Just for less to get caught on, I'm just definitely gonna probably, with the 3-inch pipe here, make sure that these are up at least out of the way. All right, had to stop for a quick Mountain Dew break, recharge my batteries, and also had to get to the garage and grab some of my connectors. I have used these in the past to splice in the line. By the way, I haven't tightened this up yet. This is just a ground wire right here, and this has nothing to do with that gate valve. I just ran it through there. I'm going to tie it up nice and tight and make sure it looks really nice. That's basically, I mounted these LEDs up here, and that's why you see this bundle of wire right here that came with the kit. And I'm going to make, you know, this look nice. It comes with a switch that I'm going to mount, and I'm going to tap into 12 volt with this too, because in these coaches they have literally no light in here. So I'm going to take care of that also with a little bit of LED. So let's get to drilling. I'm thinking that I'm going to go right next to this one, and then I'm going to install my rubber grommet here. There's a couple different names for this, but this is a unibit or a step drill. So it basically steps down a little bit at a time until you get to the size you need, instead of just picking one drill bit out and using that, or changing out several drill bits. Get one of these unibits and it'll make your life a little bit easier. So these are just awesome. Definitely good for thinner materials too. So all right, that's gonna work out nicely. Let's run some of the wire up there. Let me just point out one more thing for you guys. What you're gonna probably have to do is, these switches come pre-wired, as you can see. The other one that I had also was pre-wired. So what you would probably do is take, if you don't have a good memory at that, take a picture of exactly how these wires are on the switch, because the easiest thing to do is you're going to unplug them, because you're not going to get this big piece through that grommet size that I have. So you're more than likely going to have to unwire it. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I was going to move the old switch over to the new holes because of I want them in line. So for instance, this one right here is going to be moved over to the right a little bit, and the new one's going to take the place of this one. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to unplug some of this and put it back a little bit over to the next side. Alright, so I got this wire ran up there. I don't have the rubber grommet in because you got to feed this wire through the grommet, then install the grommet. But this side is going to be the connector side. So we got the one coming in from up top where the switch is. Then we're going to take the one from the motor, plug it in. Can't screw it up, it only goes one way. Make sure it's snapped in, looking good. And we're going to come back and we're going to tighten up all these wires how we want them. Maybe tie wrap them, and that's it. So what I'm going to do now is, just for the heck of it, So I'm going to go back up into the wiring harness, and I'm just going to jump them wires and see how this operates, so you guys can see the operation. Okay, so let's see if we can get it jumped off. Alright, tell me how cool that is. It's awesome, isn't it? So, let me show you this real quick and show you how this lights up when I jump it. Okay, as you can see, the switch is up, which means the valve is closed. It's kind of confusing to me on how that works, but it takes a little bit for me to get used to that. I'm used to up is on, off is down is off, but with this particular switch, when you hit this button, you heard it and the light stays on. That's telling you that that valve is open. So when you get back up in here in your RV and you see that red light on, that's going to remind you to close the valve if you haven't already. So, and that's it. So basically on this job, it's just splicing them 2 wires in and installing the switch, and then just tightening up the wires, and this job's good to go. Alright, so these are the 2 wires that I need to splice into, and it's going to be real difficult with one hand to try to do this. So let's see if I can get a volunteer. Okay, so I have enough room through here to lead this up through, so I can try to splice into these wires right here. So I got my volunteer. Say hi, volunteer.
Hi, volunteer.
The camera girl. And also, when you're doing wiring, I like to just keep everything before you start splicing in anything. You see how this is hooked around this wire? You want to make sure really to keep it all separated, and so you don't have a problem if you're going to start putting everything and tightening everything up, that you're not wrapped around something, say like this, and before you know it, when you're spliced, you're like, oh crap, I'm all wrapped up. So I've done that many times before, and I try to keep an eye out to make sure all my wires are straight and right and easily accessible, and then they're going to be easy to wrap up when I'm ready to do it. So okay, so basically I snipped the ends off. Go back to these connectors here, and then I'll go back and electrical tape them up. But let me just get these wired in and spliced in real quick. Okay, none of these are on tight right now because I gotta undo them to move the switch down where I want it. But as you can see, I just basically spliced in with them connectors. I'm gonna go ahead and take all that off. I'm gonna electrical tape it, and I also got my LED lights run into that to pull 12 volt from that. That's gonna be it for the wiring. Everything's working as far as you heard it. That means it's open. That means it's closed. This one, open, closed. All right, I know that this says when you're pushed here that this is open, but the way this switch is wired, it took a little bit, like I already explained before, that your mind wants to say that this is off, which means closed to me. But when that light's on, that's saying that the valve is open. So that's the way this switch works. It's kind of backwards to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Okay, so I took the other switch off because, like I said, I'm going to relocate it, but I'm going to use these holes and use the template, because 2 valve installation is going to be this whole thing. So if I match up these 2 holes right here, I'll be able to tape it off and we should be good. So I got the template all laid out, and this side's going to be 1 3/4 inches. The bottom's going to be 1 inch. Let's get started. Thing really grabs the carpet here. There's really nothing you can do about that. This is the other switch, so we're going to put that right where that one was, just like that. Screw it in, rewire it, and then I'm going to take the wires off this one, and do the same. It's kind of it's a hassle really. Got to remember where this stuff goes. Like I said, just take a picture on every angle just to make sure you know which way these things are all running. I'm getting to the point where I know where they run. So anyway, and then I'll just rewire it all and straighten these wires out like I said. I'm going to tape these while I got them out. So I'm going to electrical tape these connections here, and then I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so I already rewired all that. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit more. It's not really that necessary. Everything's pretty much on tight. I'll show you the outside here. So them are my switches, and I reversed them, or moved it over like I said. So now you can see that red light's on. That means it's open. That means it's closed. Open, closed. Let's go demonstrate on the outside. Alright guys, so I'm going to finish up by straightening up all the wires, tightening it up underneath. When I'm all finished, it's pretty much all tightening up from here. Like I said, the hardest part of this project is probably the wiring. Other than that, the valve's pretty easy to put in. Not that hard of a job at all. And it will make your life a lot easier, especially if you have a valve that's buried way underneath an RV like mine, or a trailer, fifth wheel, whatever you got. I hope this helped you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.